As part of today's edition of the program, we shall be bringing you a report that summarizes updates on various cases involving former state governors. Most of these cases started in 2007, and the Commission has secured some convictions, while many of them are at trial stages. Hello, Nigeria. It's nice joining you today on another edition of The Eagle. With me on the program is Aisha Mohammed.
Hi, Aisha. Good evening and thank you for staying tuned. Today's edition promises to be very exciting. Please stay put as we take our first break for the day.
EFCC will get you anywhere, anytime.
Chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Ibrahim Lamardi, has described corruption as one of the major causes of pervasive poverty in Nigeria. Speaking at the annual National Association of Sea Dogs Feast of Barracuda with the theme, A New Dawn in Nigeria, Practical Steps to Eradicate Corruption, Lamardi expressed the resolve of the Commission to continue to checkmate the activities of morally corrupt people who have brought shame upon the society.
Also on our lineup, Justice Nathaniel Ayo Emmanuel of the Federal High Court sitting in Ibadan, Oyo State, has dismissed the bail application brought by 6 former staff of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN. The judge, in dismissing their application for bail, stated that the interest of the accused must not only be considered while looking at their application, but that of the common man and the society.
Please stay tuned as Kamila Gaby takes us through our first report for the day, right after this timeout. Don't go away.
Nigeria is the 6th largest producer of oil in the world. In over 50 years of oil exploration, the country has earned well over $600 billion as oil revenue. If properly managed, it should provide us with a health system that will save lives and not a decaying health system. A society where energy goes round for meaningful development and not an epileptic power supply system. A productive educational system and not a decaying educational system. A society where jobs are created for self-sustainability and not a society where our youth roam the streets unemployed. A highway of safety and security and not roads that lead us to early graves. We should have credible leaders who deliver dividends of democracy to the people and not corrupt leaders who divert our collective revenue for private use. Say no to corrupt leaders. This message is from the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC.
A former governor from Oyo State, southwest Nigeria, Adebayo Alao Akala, is facing an 11-count charge bordering on alleged conspiracy, contract awards without budgetary provisions, and obtaining by false pretense. Akala was dragged before the Oyo State High Court Ibadan alongside Hosea Agbola and Olufemi Babalola. They were said to have conspired and diverted over 11 billion naira while Alao Akala was Oyo State governor. Akala, after taking his plea, filed an application before the court to quash the charges leveled against him. His application was struck out. Not satisfied, Akala proceeded to the Court of Appeal in Ibadan. The appeal was also dismissed. Justice Monica Dongban Mensen, who delivered the ruling, held that the preliminary objection by Alao Akala was premature. The judge, also held that the former governor should have waited for the trial to go midway at the High Court before appealing. She pointed out that he did not provide enough evidence to warrant the court to quash the ruling of the lower court and ordered that Akala should return to the High Court to face trial. Not satisfied with the judgment, Akala proceeded to the Supreme Court. The application is still awaiting the decision of the Apex Court. Chimaroke Nnamani was first arraigned before Justice Tijani Abubakar in 2007, and after over 5 years, he was re-arraigned before Justice Muhammad Yunusa on an amended charge of money laundering. The case has suffered a series of adjournments and has been handled by 3 separate judges of the Federal High Court. Since the trial began, Nnamani had approached the trial court with various applications seeking the court to grant him medical leave to enable him travel overseas for a medical checkup. At the expiration of one leave, another application follows seeking another extension. Surprisingly, the same accused who could not be present to face his trial was in the country recently campaigning to become a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. His penchant for frivolous applications has forced the prosecution to split the charge to enable the trial of his co-accused to progress. For James Ibori, 6 years after Justice Marcel Awokuleyin sensationally struck out all 170-count charge of money laundering preferred against the former governor of Delta State by the EFCC, a 3-man panel of justices at the Benin Division of the Court of Appeal ruled that the ex-governor, who is currently serving a 13-year jail term in a London prison, has a case to answer. The ruling held that the proof of evidence clearly shows the prima facie case has been disclosed, that Justice Awokuleyin erred when he held that no case was disclosed against the former governor. For former governor of Gombe State, Danjuma Goje, trial has made progress before Justice B.O. Qadri of the Federal High Court sitting in Gombe State. The lead defense counsel, Adeni Akintola SAN, recently cross-examined the prosecution witness, Solomon Okoti, an assistant superintendent of police, on some of the exhibits tendered by the prosecution. The former governor, who is standing trial alongside 3 others, is being prosecuted by the EFCC over allegations of mismanagement and diversion of over 50 billion naira state funds. Rashidi Ladoja, former governor of Oyo State, is also facing charges of corruption. The EFCC had arraigned Ladoja before Justice Ramat Mohammed of a Federal High Court sitting in Ikoyi, Lagos, in November 2008, alongside one of his former aides, Wahid Akambi, on an amended 10-count charge of money laundering to the tune of over 7 billion naira. The duo was said to have conspired to convert properties and resources derived from an illegal act with the aim of concealing the illicit origin of the properties and resources. It was alleged that Ladoja used about 42 million naira to purchase an armored Land Cruiser Jeep and remitted about 600,000 pounds sterling to one Bimpe Ladoja in London. Ladoja had challenged the competence of the charge, arguing through his counsel, Wale Olanipekun SAN, that the proof of evidence placed before the court by the anti-graft agency had no nexus with the charge against him. He, however, lost in his bid as the court ruled that the prima facie case was indeed established against the former governor. Disagreeing with the ruling, he proceeded to the Court of Appeal. The appellate court, in its judgment, delivered by Justice C. Dibagi, disallowed the appeal and ordered the former governor to continue his trial at the lower court. He then proceeded to the Supreme Court. The parties are still awaiting the outcome of the Apex Court. Prince Abubakar Audu, former governor of Kogi State, is also being prosecuted before Justice A.O. Adeni of the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. Audu was arraigned alongside the former Director General of the Directorate of Rural Development in his administration, Alpha Ibn Mustafa. The duo were arraigned on a 36-count charge bordering on criminal breach of trust and misappropriation of public funds to the tune of over 10 billion naira. They pleaded not guilty to the charge, and trial has since commenced, and the EFCC has called several witnesses. The first prosecution witness, Lawechi Terry Ozoemenam, Managing Director of Leo Flench Nigeria Limited, told the court that Audu conspired with Mustafa to forge his company's receipt in a bid to inflate contract sum. Another witness in the trial, Irile Fidelis, who was the Human Resources Manager of One Balkan Nigeria Limited, while being led in evidence by EFCC counsel Rotimi Jacobs SAN, also testified that he knew nothing about a building called Nitel Quarters that was purportedly constructed for the Kogi State government by his company during the tenure of Audu. Jabaru Olatunji, also a prosecution witness, told the court that several documents on the award of contracts to major contractors between 2000 and 2003 during Audu's tenure as governor were forged. Olatunji, a staff of the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission (ICPC), who is also the 8th prosecution witness, while being led in evidence, said he was part of a joint task force involving 5 security agencies that investigated the petition against Audu. Godwin Obla is one of the prosecuting counsels handling one of these cases.
I think first and foremost, we must acknowledge that the challenge to speedy trial must not be restricted to politicians alone. Every citizen of the country is entitled to speedy trial. The public is also entitled to speedy trial. So to pigeonhole cases involving politically exposed persons alone would not be fair. But having said that, there is very little that can be done except there is an amendment to our laws in relation to the rights of parties in a litigation for purposes of interlocutory appeals, stay of proceedings, and etc. Because most of these delays that you have highlighted are normally as a result of interlocutory appeals. Accused persons take advantage of the lacuna or the gap in our laws and abuse the process.
He said certain provisions by law to protect the rights of accused persons are grossly abused and employed by the accused persons to frustrate the judicial process.
Whenever they do this, they leave the High Court, they go to the Court of Appeal, they go to the Supreme Court. The normal refrain that you find from the justices of this court is utter exasperation and annoyance as to why this kind of appeals should even come there, and then sending them back to start the process. But this abuse now leads to prosecution fatigue, witnesses disappearing, evidences being affected, and the likes, ultimately affecting the quality of prosecution that is undertaken at the end of the day.
Obla said, as a result of the abuse, trials are delayed and the prosecution suffers at the end of the day.
Some of these prosecutions started in 2007. Accused persons have gone up to the Supreme Court. They've not been returned back. That's 8 years. Some witnesses can die within 8 years. Some prosecutors can get tired or can even die within the period. Some accused persons themselves have even died. I'm sure some of the politicians that were involved in some of these trials, I think one of them has died. The former, yes, governor of Plateau. So that's the end of the matter. So even if he had acquired properties illegally or with the process of crime, and those properties had not been attached before he died, how does the state now get restitution? Because you cannot try a dead person.
Cheers! What is it?
Please, keep to yourself.
Chivurabo, I got a telephone call.
Anytime I close my eyes,
Yes.
I see dead people chasing me in my sleep.
My Jova Magadam.
Is it possible for someone to become restless just because of his past?
Nevertheless, unless you kill somebody dead, then the spirit will be haunted you.
Hey!
Was you all contractors?
I embezzled all the money for the roads that are now death traps, killing people every day. I approved the supplies of fake drugs on pipe on water. I embezzled the money. I dey fear, Chief.
You are supposed to fear a special man that the people of EFCC and chase people who are doing wuru to submit other people money. EFCC, as soon as they capture them, straight to prison.
Chief,
Jail. How you are? Life are not just about acquire wealth, making money. When other people are getting die of hunger and neglect, be careful. EFCC I watch.
EFCC will get you anywhere, anytime.
Chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC), Ibrahim Lamurdi, has described corruption as one of the major causes of pervasive poverty in Nigeria. Lamurdi said this at the annual National Association of Sea Dogs Feast of Barracuda with the theme, A New Dawn in Nigeria, Practical Steps to Eradicate Corruption. Thelma Eke completes the report.
Lamurde expressed the resolve of the Commission to checkmate the activities of the morally corrupt people who have brought shame upon the Nigerian society. The EFCC boss, who spoke through the Deputy Director, Public Affairs, Osita Nwaja, said it is heartwarming that Professor Wole Soyinka, one of the founding fathers of the association, who has consistently identified with the ideals of the EFCC, had long taken a stand against those who have made it their sole goals in life to steal our common patrimony. He also charged the NAS to come up with workable strategies against corruption following the inauguration of President Muhammad Buhari, who has declared that his government will have zero tolerance for corruption. Lamurde, who commended the organizers for the choice team, which he described as apt, added that though there is no one-sure approach to eliminating corruption in any society, the EFCC had recognized that most effective way to fighting corruption is through a sustained and multi-pronged approach that involves every member of the society. This approach, according to him, when viewed against the backdrop of the corruption challenge, must effectively combine investigation, prosecution, prevention, and education, adding that institution building must also receive a considerable attention. The EFCC boss, who lauded the National Association of Sea Dogs for partnering with the Commission in the early days of its prevention project tagged Fix Nigeria Initiative, said the Commission has actively propagated all aspects of its multi-dimensional approach to the anti-corruption war. Thelma Ake, reporting for the Eagle.
And now to court matters. Justice Nathaniel Ayo Emmanuel of the Federal High Court sitting in Ibadan, Oyo State, has dismissed the bail application brought by 6 former staff of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN. Golden Agu has the rest of the report.
The accused persons, Patience Okoro, Afolabi Olufemi Johnson, Ilori Adekunle Sunday, Kolawole Babalola, Olaniran Muniru Adeola, and Fatai Adedokun Yusuf, are being prosecuted by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, for over an 8 billion naira mutilated currency recycling fraud. Justice Emmanuel, in dismissing the application for bail, stated that the interest of the accused must not only be considered while looking at the application, but that of the common man and the society. He said the court was refusing the accused person's bail because of the gravity of the offense, which affects the economy and well-being of the people of the country. The judge dismissed the application and ordered for accelerated hearing. He also warned counsel that he will not entertain frivolous applications. The accused persons were arraigned on June 2, 2015 on 28-count charge bordering on fraud and stealing. Specifically, the former Apex Bank employees are alleged to have compromised the CBN's bricketing exercise meant to mop up mutilated currencies from circulation. In a similar development, Justice Emmanuel also dismissed the bail application brought by 3 former staff of CBN and 2 staff of Sterling Bank. The accused, Kolawole Babalola, Olaniran Muniru Adeola, Togun Kayode Phillips, all former staff of the CBN, and Salami Ibrahim and Odia Emmanuel, both staff of Sterling Bank PLC, were arraigned on an 11-count charge bordering on conspiracy, fraud, and stealing. They are alleged to have defrauded their banks various sums of money totaling over 1 billion naira using various guises and pretenses. Justice Emmanuel adjourned the case to July 6 and 7, 2015 for trial. It was the same situation in the case involving Kolawole Babalola, Olaniran Muniru Adeola, and Togun Kayode Phillips, ex-CBN staff, and Tokbe Akintade, staff of EcoBank PLC, who were docked on a 15-count charge bordering on conspiracy, fraud, and stealing to the tune of about 2 billion naira. Their bail applications were dismissed too for lack of merit, and the judge thereafter ordered for an accelerated hearing. Golden Agu reporting for the Eagle.
You're still watching the program, The Eagle. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has rearranged Dr. Sani Shoaibu Tedi, former Director of Pension Accounts, Office of the Head of Civil Service of the Federation, before Justice Gabriel Kolawole of the Federal High Court in Abuja.
Tedi was dogged alongside Y. Odusegbe Eric Omoefe, also known as Ortega Akpotehiri. Kamilu, once again, has this report.
Dr. Shoaibu Tedi Sani and his other co-accused were rearraigned on a 21-count charge for failure to declare assets, obtaining by false pretense, conspiracy, and concealing the illicit origin of stolen pension funds to the tune of over 18 billion naira. They were rearranged alongside their companies, namely Gozinda Enterprises, Bashinta Nigeria Limited, Halieth Enterprises, Uthatak Nigeria Limited, and Krasiva Nigeria Limited. Others are Badaulu Ventures Limited, Ebunu Ata Investment, Muha Millennium Motors Limited, and Riba Ile Petroleum Limited. Tedi's rearrangement by the anti-graft agency followed his application to the chief judge through his counsel, Sunday Ame SAN, seeking the transfer of the case to another court over an alleged bias of the trial judge, Justice Ademola Adeni. The accused persons pleaded not guilty to the charge when it was read to them. Justice Kolawole adjourned the case to October 8, 2015 for trial to commence and ordered the accused persons to continue with the bail terms earlier granted them by the trial court. It will be recalled that Tedi was first arraigned on March 24, 2011 alongside 9 others and 30 companies on a 134-count charge for allegedly defrauding the Pensions Account Office of the Head of Service of the Federation of billions of naira.
For me to buy correct motor, for me to take make my dough,
reminiscing as I walk to my car, thinking about how we used to be. For Ekoma, I did ride Okada, and most times I did so carry. I wanted to change the way I live, but I didn't have to do those things. Now I'm rolling VIP, and all the girls wanna be like me. Yeah. You ask me how I deal with my reality. Gotta tell you truly, it ain't easy now. I feel the pressure to find something wrong to do. Then I remember you reap what you sow. Now I'm sitting staring at the screen of my computer, thinking really hard about what truly matters. What's with all this data? Just to catch a maga. He could have been my father or someone else's brother.
for me to buy correct motor, for me to take make my dough.
Glad to have you back. And on that note, we call it a day on today's edition of the program. Do join us same time and on same station next week as we bring you another interesting package. To leave a comment about this program, please send an email to theeagle@efccnigeria.org or search for us on Google Plus at Official EFCC or officialefcc@gmail.com.
You can also like our page on facebook.com/official EFCC or follow us on Twitter @official EFCC. And to watch our programs and other activities, please log on to youtube.com/official EFCC. I am Aisha Mohammed. Thank you and good evening.
My name is Aisha Gambari. Thank you for watching. God bless Nigeria.